I'm CherylMarlene, and this is Spiritual Deep Dive. In this episode, I share a Q&A from a recent Akashic Record Insights workshop. Within the Akashic Records, the question we worked with is this.
Can they talk about the concept of absolute truth? So I have my truth and you have your truth. Is there such a thing as absolute truth?
Yeah, meaning truth that would always be truth for everyone, no matter the circumstances.
Exactly.
So the way we want to start with that today is first let's define what truth is. So generally speaking, truth is an awareness of the experience of resonance, balance, harmony within. And so if it's personal truth, then what you're doing is you're feeling the resonance, balance, and harmony within yourself, for yourself, about, let's say, a particular topic, or an event, or a belief, or a thought, or a feeling, right? Like any way that you process, knowing and the energy within yourself and around yourself, you can become aware of how energy flow within you, around you. You can feel that resonance, that balance, that harmony, that alignment, which then gets to how different people's truths are different, because who you are as the human being you are is unique in time and space, and because we all don't have exactly the same experiences, like we're not born all into the same family with the same, balance between nurture and nature. While truth from one person to another can be similar, it's not entirely the same. Right? I mean, it's like why some people like cheese better than they like chocolate, or others like chocolate better than they like cheese, kind of thing, right? Like you're getting to that awareness of how people differentiate themselves, or find, discern a difference within themselves based on what feels truthful to them. So that within that perspective, they would say that the concept of absolute truth is a perception of what they call the static view. In other words, it's the idea that all experience is filtered through the dimensions of, the three dimensions of linear space and time. And in some respects, it's a convenient way to look at truth. And it's something that we've done both within different religious traditions and different spiritual traditions, is to make statements that are perceived as absolute truth, right? Like that they're going to be that absolute truth they would define as truth that's perceived to be the same for everyone all the time. And the problem with that is that it doesn't then deal well with sort of like three different motions. One, everybody has different experiences. Two, in your life, there is always the unknown and the unexpected. And because everyone has different experience, and because of the presence of the unknown in our life, which basically means that we can pretend to predict things, but the reality is that we often will look into the future and have no idea, right? Like we're not absolutely sure that this will happen or that will happen. I mean, we can have the feeling of that, but the reality is that most of life is unpredictable, because it dances off into the unknown and the unexpected. And so the presence of the unexpected and the unknown, coupled with everybody has different experiences, means that the truth for people in the same moment of experience isn't necessarily always going to be exactly the same. And then if you take all of that and couple it with the idea that in every moment, life shifts, life expands, you learn something new, something you didn't know shows up, there's motion, basically, means that truth, and even looking at it from a static point of view, means that truth shifts from moment to moment. But the concept of absolute truth is there both to impose a sense of order in an environment that's uncontrollable, and to give the idea that you are in control. Oh, and so that then the other part of all of this is the presence of ambiguity, right? The fact that different people have different experiences and there are different ways of interpreting, like just the simple thing of like what's good and what's bad, means that ambiguity is always inherent within any situation. And in a lot of ways, the basis of ambiguity is the presence of multiple truths. And that bumps up against the idea that if you're living outside in, meaning you're going outside of yourself to find truth, which means generally you're checking in with some sort of external authority that knows better than you, then you're going to deal with ambiguity the way that you're guided to or told to, as opposed to looking within yourself at what's truthful for you and finding ambiguity and being willing to acknowledge that the ambiguity exists. Which a little bit is what we've been talking about, like with the whole idea of like soul paradox, right? There's a way in which you could also just say that that's soul ambiguity, because, and so the part of the idea of absolute truth is a way to counter that which is ambiguous, because a whole lot of stuff that feels ambiguous, it's not that there's one single truth that makes it all work. It's usually that it's like a balancing, like the balance in it comes in balancing the various truths that show up and appear to be ambiguous. So for example, like most of us probably can agree, thou shalt not kill. But if like someone breaks into your home and wants to try to kill you, there would be the truth, the belief that self-defense is reasonable in that circumstance, right? So in other words, we're not holding on to the belief of thou shalt not kill to the degree that if someone wants to try to kill you, you should just go ahead and let them. right? And so the ambiguity in that is very, very, very apparent. And it makes it obvious that holding to what seems like absolute truth isn't necessarily truthful. And but in order to deal with your truth as your truth and not feel compelled to always take on whatever's presented as absolute truth means that you also have to let go of the thought that you might be able to control other people in what their truth is. Right? Part of how you get to your truth is recognizing everybody has their own truth, including truth that seems false to you, seems like it can't be true. Right? And a lot of what absolute truth is about getting us to all walk lockstep in one particular direction so that we're not questioning it, we're not saying, oh no, that's not truth for me, right? Like all of us saying, oh no, I want to get to my truth doesn't help if the desire is to get everybody to behave the same or to get everybody marching in exactly the same direction.
Thank you for listening. This has been an episode of Spiritual Deep Dive. For more, visit spiritualdeepdive.com or my website, CherylMarlene.com. To join our weekly Akashic Record Insights workshop, go to AkashicRecordInsights.com.